Hello, Milan Black with my Week 5 blog for Acting Theory in America. This week we discussed the great Stanford Meisner. I think this was my favorite week so far, as I find Meisner's approach to be interesting and the method that I'm most familiar with. This week's readings included 2 chapters from Krasner's Method Acting Reconsidered. The first chapter was titled Redefining Acting, the Implications of the Meisner Method by Bryant, and the second was Courtney's piece on the premier Meisner institution, the neighborhood Playhouse. Pope's chapter focused on Meisner's technique and the basic thinking behind the development of his technique. I agree that Meisner's technique transforms acting methodology and the framing of an actor's focus. Pope mentions many times throughout the chapter that Meisner's technique's core focus is placed on others, and doing so with the intention of changing the behavior of the other character, which is interesting. Meisner encourages what was deemed unselfish energy that actors should direct at others for specific effects on the other person. In my written response this week, I talked about how students that I teach aren't explicitly using the Meisner technique, but have had times when they have shared energy on stage in the way that Meisner explains and valued in his teachings. I discuss how sharing this energy, my students have more fun on stage and how it makes the scenes that they're performing more impactful for the audience. There is a unique feeling they create on stage, and this may be that synergy between characters and activated imagination that Meisner taught and valued. Again, we come back to the topic of emotion, but this time discussing how Meisner viewed the topic. Ultimately, Meisner's focus was on doing and creating emotion as a byproduct of actions based in the attempt to influence the other actors and the characters in the scene. Courtney stated that Meisner did not care how actors created their emotions, be it from past experience or imitation, imagination, but ultimately he did believe that imagination was the key. Over time, even the most traumatic memories that we have can fade, and that was something that Meisner believed that we should not rely on. So actors shouldn't rely on these memory exercises. Instead, they should really focus on imagination and building their ability to act when circumstances are unrealistic. This focus on imagination is similar to Adler, but I think Meisner takes this to the next level. The Meisner technique's focus on others also reframes approaches to conflict and character. Pope states Meisner saw conflict as the result of two people trying to change each other, which is a really interesting way to word conflict. I agree with Pope's sentiment that it takes a great deal of effort for actors to learn this technique as it goes against instinct and tradition, but I also think that Meisner developed an acting technique that is worthwhile and worth exploring. Courtney's essay outlined the neighborhood playhouse, which also sees value in Meisner's teaching as they run workshops and a 2-year certification program that continues his legacy. I found the structure of the 2-year certificate program to be very interesting. The first year emphasis on building the repetition exercise, doing voice training, dancing, things that were very much trying to make a well-rounded actor. And then having only a third of the students be invited back because they have to have unanimous faculty approval in order to be invited back for the second year. So while the selective process is a little harsh, it does make sense in an acting school to have a program that is dedicated to working with and producing actors that embody the Meisner technique to the fullest. I found all of the information about the repetition exercises to be very interesting, and I did include that in my lesson plan for this week.